Ladakh to offer hand-painted scrolls, traditionally called as thanka, each prepared with love and care, to showcase a reflection of their culture, craftsmanship, and rich tradition. In honoring our guests, we also honor the communities that are flag bearers of our rich and vibrant heritage.
Traditionally, the thanka is a painting on a fabric, typically depicting deities or scenes from the Buddhist mythology or mandalas, and are used for meditation, teaching, and ritual purposes. The thanka is being presented today as a symbolic link between justice and artistic heritage of our tribal community.
In their traditional attire, may I please first request Shri Tundup Dorje from Leh, Ladakh to present thanka to Honorable Shri Justice Surya Kant, Judge, Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authority. Next, I invite Shri Dabang Mo to present thanka to Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India. I now request Shri Nawang Zangpu to present thanka to Shri Manoj Sinha, Honorable Lieutenant Governor, UT of J&K. Srimati Zehra Banu will now honor Honorable Shri Justice Arun Palli, Chief Justice, High Court of J&K and Ladakh, and Patron-in-Chief, J&K and Ladakh Legal Services Authorities. I request Srimati Skalzing Chotun to present thanka to Shri Umar Abdullah, Honorable Chief Minister, UT of J&K.
Request to all of you, kindly have the snacks and cup of tea and then come and sit here because it's very congested, difficult to serve and then,
May I please request Srimati Siring Chorol to present thanka to Honorable Shri Justice Sanjeev Kumar, Judge, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and Executive Chairman, Jammu and Kashmir Legal Services Authority. I please request Srimati Sonam Angmu to present thanka to Honorable Srimati Justice Sindhu Sharma, Judge, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and Executive Chairperson, Ladakh Legal Services Authority. Following this, Srimati Rigzin Yangdol is requested to present thanka to Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Sena Medal, General Officer, Commanding in Chief, Northern Command. I extend heartfelt gratitude to our tribal artisans for their soulful gesture and also to our dignitaries for their reciprocation in equal warmth and added grace. I now have the honor of inviting Honorable Ms. Justice Sindhu Sharma, Judge, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and Chairperson, Ladakh Legal Services Authority, to present the welcome address.
Honorable dignitaries, esteemed guests, respected members of the judiciary, distinguished officers from the armed forces, tribal representatives, legal luminaries, and dear participants. On behalf of the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir Legal Services Authority, the Ladakh Legal Services Authority, Chief Justice Arun Palli, and the Executive Chairman Justice Sanjeev Shukla, who is on the dais. It is my proud privilege and honor to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all of you on this momentous occasion, the launch of Nalsa Veer Parivar's Sainya Yojana 2025 and the North Zone Regional Conference on reaffirming the constitutional vision of justice for defense personnel and tribal. We welcome Honorable Justice Surya Kant, Judge Supreme Court of India, Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authority, to this conference. Lordships, your guidance and support has been pivotal in holding this conference. We welcome Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Narasimha, Judge Supreme Court of India, and look forward to Lordship's insights on this conference. We also welcome Mr. Justice Rajesh Bindal, Judge Supreme Court of India, whose deep insight and views have always been a guiding factor for all of us in our efforts. We also welcome Honorable Mr. Justice N. Koteshwar Singh, Judge Supreme Court of India. Lordship has always been a constant source of support and encouragement. We also extend a warm welcome to Honorable Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, who has taken time out of his busy schedule to grace this occasion. Your presence today reflects your deep commitment to the cause of justice. We also welcome Honorable Shri Manoj Sinha ji, Lieutenant Governor of J&K, for his support to all our program, which reflects his deep commitment towards the justice delivery system. We also welcome Shri Umar Abdullah ji, Chief Minister, Union Territory of J&K. Your presence here, sir, reinforces the commitment of a government as an important stakeholder in this conference. We also welcome Shri Javed Rana, G, Minister of Tribal Affairs, Union Territory of J&K, Mia Altaf Ahmed ji, and Shri Ghulam Ahmed Khatana, Member Parliament, who have taken time to attend this function. A very warm welcome to Mrs. Savita Surya Kant ji and Mrs. Ritu Palli ji, who have graced this occasion. We also extend a very warm welcome to Chief Justice Devinder Kumar Upadhyay, Chief Justice Sheel Nagu, Chief Justice Gurmeet Singh Sandhawalia, Chief Justice Arun Bansali, Chief Justice J. Narendra, Patron-in-Chief of the legal services authorities of their states and union territories. A very warm welcome to the Executive Chairperson, State Legal Services Authorities, High Court Legal Services Authorities, High Court of Allahabad, Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. We also extend a very warm welcome to Shri R.K. Goel, Secretary, Department of Justice, Government of India, and also a very, very warm welcome to Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma, who's here on dais, and whose insights and views are very welcome and important for this conference. We also welcome Chief Secretary Shri Atul Dulu, Shri Nalin Prabhat and their team of officers, and also General Prashant Srivastav, Shri Rakesh Kumar, IPS, CRPF, Commodore Prabhat Malik, Brigadier Gurmeet Singh, and Director Raju Sainik Board. A very warm welcome to Chief Justices, former judges, Director and Member Secretary NALSA and their team of officers, District Legal Services Authority, their team of officers, members of District Judiciary, participant members, members of Defense Forces, participating members of the tribal communities, former Chief Justices, former judges of the High Court, ladies and gentlemen. It is both meaningful and symbolic that this conference is being held in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, a region that has long stood as a citadel of national integrity, soaked in the sacrifice of our valiant defense forces, and enriched by the resilient spirit and vibrant cultural heritage of our tribal communities. What better place to hold this conference than this Union Territory? Jammu and Kashmir is a land of Sufis and saints, but also a land of majestic beauty, historical significance, and of strategic importance, which is blessed by nature in abundance and beauty. But this land is also a witness to the valor and sacrifice of our defense personnel, who have, at the cost of their lives, withstood all onslaught to ensure that the ideals enshrined in our constitution stand strong for all. Many of these belong to the tribal communities. It is therefore only fitting that we choose this sacred soil for this conference on reaffirming our vision of justice for both who defend our borders with their lives and those who defend their culture with resilience and struggle. This conference seeks to build mechanisms that are culturally sensitive, linguistically accessible, and grounded on the realities of tribal culture. The quest for social tranquility lies in equitable administration of justice, which is imperative for holistic growth and development of any democratic nation. The Constitution of India is the bedrock of our legal and moral fabric. It enshrines the ideals of equality, liberty, fraternity. Its vision of justice transcends barriers, uplifting those on the margins and protecting rights and enabling dignity for all. The judiciary has the sacred role of interpreting and enforcing this constitutional mandate, especially for those who have been historically left behind. Our focus today lies on two sections, our defense personnel and our tribal communities, both custodians of India's pride and spirit. Our defense personnel are the guardians of peace and sovereignty. Their unwavering commitment and sacrifice is the cornerstone of our national stability. Yet, their unique service conditions require us to adopt a vigilant and responsive legal approach. Justice for them must be prompt, sensitive, and mindful of their realities, especially for our ex-servicemen and Veer Naris, who often face a silent struggle when their duty is over or upon losing their loved one. Their reintegration into the society with dignity and opportunity deserve our utmost attention. Equally important is the focus on India's tribal communities, who for generations have battled the scar of exclusion and marginalization. Despite the constitutional protection and reformative approach, deep-rooted inequalities, economic deprivation, and limited access to justice continue to impede their progress. This conference seeks to delve into these challenges and evaluate the effectiveness of current policies while identifying the road ahead for true inclusion. There also exists an intersection between these two communities, as many of our brave defense personnel hailed from tribal backgrounds. They carry their ancestral pride and cultural richness even as they protect the borders. Their challenge is unique, both in the formal system and in the traditional structure. Their journey is shaped by dual challenges of service and social exclusion and calls for an empathetic understanding and focused support from the legislature, judiciary, and executive. To reaffirm the constitutional vision of justice, we require a vigilant judiciary as the guardian of spirit, of rights, and a proactive and responsive executive, ensuring that the policies reach the last mile, an effective grievance redressal mechanism that do not fail the most vulnerable, but most of all, an informed and emphatic civil society serving as a strong bridge between the state and the citizen. This conference aims to focus on the understanding legal perspectives regarding armed forces and the tribal communities, their unique challenges and systematic barriers in legal system, their empowerment, and also to look towards the way forward. Today, we also honor the sacrifice of our armed forces as we observe the 26th Kargil Vijay Divas, and we salute and honor their sacrifice. I am reminded of a famous poem of poet Makhanlal Chaturvedi, which I would like to recite in the honor of Kargil Vijay Divas. चाह नहीं मैं सुरबाला के गहनों में गूंथा जाऊं, चाह नहीं प्रेमी माला बंध प्यारी को लिलचाऊं, चाह नहीं सम्राटों के शव पे हे हरि डाला जाऊं, चाह नहीं देवों के सिर पर भाग्य पर इठलाऊं, मुझे तोड़ लेना वनमाली, उस पथ पर देना तुम फेंक, मातृभूमि पर शीश चढ़ाने जिस पथ जाए वीर अनेक. Here in this land that embodies the spirit of sacrifice, the richness of diverse traditions, let us resolve to uphold our collective national commitment to ensure that everyone, regardless of uniform or tribe, is empowered to live with dignity, to preserve their heritage, and to rightfully claim their place. With these thoughts, I once again extend a warm welcome to all and look forward to meaningful deliberation, actionable insights, and strengthened collaborations that emerge from this platform. I welcome the members of the Armed Forces, the BSF, CRPF, Navy and Air Force. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ladyship, for the gracious welcome address. Your eloquent words have set the tone for this event and also reaffirm the values that inspire our collective journey.
Distinguished guests, the defense personnel stand as unshakable sentinels of our sovereignty and to articulate the vision of justice and to lay the foundation for the path of transformative reforms for this constituent. I take the honor of inviting the guiding force and the visionary mind behind this conference, Honorable Mr. Justice Arun Palli, Chief Justice, High Court of J&K and Ladakh, and Patron-in-Chief, J&K and Ladakh Legal Services Authorities for Lordship's keynote address on the defense segment.
Honorable Justice Surya Kant, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and Executive Chairman, National Legal Services Authorities. Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister of State Law and Justice, Lieutenant Governor, Union Territory of Kashmir, Shri Manoj Sinha, Mr. Umar Abdullah, Chief Minister, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma, Army Commander, Northern Command, Chief Justice and Judges of the High Court of Delhi, Allahabad, Punjab and Haryana, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, my sister and brother judges of the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Minister for Jal Shakti and Environment and Tribal Affairs Department, members of Parliament joining us, former Chief Justices and Justices of this court, respected soldiers and fellow citizens. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to stand before the guardians of our nation, our brave men and women who've taken oath not just to serve, but to sacrifice. Good morning to you all. It was 1632 when an English poet, Francis Cowell, said, God and soldier all men adore, in time of danger and not before. When the danger is past and all things righted, God is forgotten and the soldier slighted. But this is India, and in India's heart, the soldiers righted, never forgotten, never slighted. It might come as a surprise to many of us that the laws governing our armed forces, be that Army, Air Force or Navy, include a statutory mandate that whenever a serving soldier is on an official leave, to appear in a civil or a revenue court, the court is bound to prioritize hearing of his matter. The statutory obligation is clearly laid down in Section 32 of both Army as also the Air Force Act and Section 24 of the Navy Act. These provisions contain vital yet chronically underutilized legal safeguards. They postulate that upon submission of a certificate issued by the military authorities confirming that the soldier is on an official leave or has applied for leave specifically to appear in a court, the court is bound to prioritize the hearing and decide the matter within the duration of the sanctioned leave. And if for any reason or despite best efforts and the endeavors made by the court is not in a position to dispose of the matter finally, it is required to record reasons and make that reasoning accessible to the soldier, an essential procedural safeguard that upholds both transparency as also the value of the soldier's time. This statutory prescription is not a matter of discretion. It's not an act of courtesy either. That's the law to ensure that the soldier is not weighed down by the burden of pending litigation. The whole idea is to support, to prioritize so that the legal worries don't accompany him to the front lines. This was the true essence and the very purpose, objective, and the idea of these legislations. But yet, over time, this legal protection has slipped quietly into obscurity. It finds no reflection in causeless, It doesn't feature in routine court practices. And in many instances, even the judicial officers remain unaware of its existence. The law offers priority, but process at times delivers delay. It was in this background we were compelled to consider a pressing question as to what exactly have we done to give effect to this mandate. The realization was not rhetorical. It stirred a moment of self-introspection. And I'm glad to share with you all, we've taken the first step. But before I touch upon the small little initiatives that we've taken in the recent past, I'm equally conscious and realize that it's just not possible, it's just not feasible for us to embark on this journey alone. Therefore, we earnestly look forward to a meaningful exchange of ideas and constructive engagement, including the insights, experiences, and valuable guidance of our other high courts and state legal service authorities. Your shared perspective will undoubtedly enrich and strengthen the collective pursuit. Adverting to the measures we've recently undertaken, I may share, upon realizing that Zilla signing boards possess extensive litigation-related data of ex-servicemen. Accordingly, we coordinated with them, mined the data from court information system, tapped every available source of information. Thousands of SMSs were sent to the litigants and lawyers. A dedicated Google form is launched on the High Court website, and voluntarily submissions are being invited for identification. Thus far, approximately 600 cases have been identified in the High Court as well as the District Court, and it's a work in progress. Prioritization was the next step that naturally followed, and then the IT committee of the court, headed by Brother Shukla, rose to the occasion to leverage the power of technology and developed a dedicated software patch that now enables automatic flagging of cases involving serving personnel and ex-servicemen. Additionally, a real-time urgent matter indicator is also being introduced directly into the cause list, both at the High Court as also the District Judiciary, marking such cases for priority attention from the outset. As a part of the institutional commitment to ensure timely and seamless access to justice, the High Court has developed an in-house web application, DPCMS, the Defense Personnel Case Management System. The web application, which will be formally launched in some time from now, is a comprehensive, user-focused tool designed specifically for the legal needs of serving and retired defense personnel. Through DPCMS, users will be able to register their cases, monitor updates in real time, apply for legal aid, submit hearing requests, including for video conferencing, and resolve queries directly from the phones. But alongside technological innovation, there existed a pressing need for structural judicial reform, and I take pride in sharing with you all, my parent court, the High Court of the Punjab and Haryana, long demonstrated an institutional foresight in this regard, as Volume 1, Chapter 6, Part A, B, and C of the High Court Rules and Orders, detailed procedure is laid down for suits by or against the members of the armed forces, including provisions under the Indian Soldiers Litigation Act 1925. And notably, now this is something really interesting, notably Part B outlines the procedure to be followed under the SAT Act, expressly mandating the trial courts to adhere to its provision in letter and spirit. Inspired by this model, and in keeping with the commitment to meaningful reform, the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh introduced comprehensive amendments to the civil rules of practice for the guidance of the district judiciary, mandating that cases involving serving and retired defense personnel receive focused and expedited attention at the district level. Yes, one thing led to another. I'm equally glad to share with you that recognizing the need for institutional synergy, High Court proposed an amendment to Rule 13 of the Jammu and Kashmir Legal Service Authorities rules, framed under Section 28 of the Legal Service Authorities Act 87. For inclusion of Secretary Zilla Sainik Board as a statutory member of DALSA. The proposed amendment was thus a step aimed at institutionalizing coordination between legal service authorities and the ex-servicemen community, thereby enhancing access to justice for veterans and their families. The proposal was formally submitted to the government of Jammu and Kashmir, and I express my deep gratitude to worthy Lieutenant Governor Shri Sinha for ensuring the prompt clearance of the proposal. In fact, the notification has been issued yesterday evening itself. As a result, Rule 13 now stands amended, formally integrating Secretary Zilla Sainik Board into the District Services Legal Authorities framework. We feel privileged to inform this august gathering that we are joined today by our Veer Naris and ex-servicemen, whose presence here is both humbling and profoundly inspiring. As part of the pioneering initiative to promote grassroots legal support, Veer Naris and ex-servicemen have been engaged as paralegal volunteers. To begin with, 15 Veer Naris and 8 servicemen, ex-servicemen, have been engaged across UT of J&K and Ladakh, and certificates of engagements will be presented during the course of this event. This initiative creates a trusted interface between legal institutions and defense community, ensuring that legal aid is delivered with dignity and lived understanding. Now, as I move further from here, I also wish to draw your attention to the Indian Soldiers Litigation Act 1925, a century-old legislation, but to date as we speak, profoundly relevant. Now, I would delve a little deep here. There's something really crucial coming away. Recognizing the unique constraints faced by the soldiers deployed under special or war conditions, this act provides a unique procedural shield. At its core, it provides for the postponement of legal proceedings involving Indian soldiers who are unable to attend court due to service under special conditions. Upon receiving certification from a prescribed authority or the commanding officer, the court is required to postpone suits, application, and appeals until soldiers can reasonably appear. This act also empowers even the collector to intervene in cases where a soldier is unrepresented and appears to be unable to attend court, ensuring that soldiers' rights are not prejudiced due to absence. In such cases, notice must be issued to the prescribed authority, and the court is bound to suspend the proceedings unless exceptions apply. In addition to, now that's another facet to it, in addition to these protective measures, the Act mandates relaxation of limitation periods, excluding from computation the time during which a soldier was serving under qualifying conditions. This applies not only to the soldier, but also to their legal representatives in case of a death during service. In a sense, the Act creates a protective legal framework that shields serving soldiers from procedural disadvantages arising from their service obligations, thereby ensuring that justice is not denied simply because their duty to the nation always comes first. However, if this framework is examined in today's context, a compelling question that arises, which would seek an answer from each one of you sitting here: why should this protection be limited only to the civil and revenue matters? In a time where criminal litigation, particularly cases under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, increasingly involves serving soldiers as complainants and becomes imperative to ask, is it not time to extend similar protection on the criminal side as well? And a survey across Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh revealed that a considerable number of such cases are currently pending before various courts, often involving soldiers unable to meet procedural deadlines due to operational exigencies. The strict timelines imposed for the issuance of a notice or filing a complaint in such cases often exclude those who serve not by law but by circumstances. Soldiers posted at borders in counter-insurgency operations or on prolonged deployments cannot always issue legal notice or appear before the court with rigid statutory windows. And I say this as patron-in-chief of the legal service authorities of J&K and Ladakh, that the legislative gap prompted a deeper legal policy reflection. And after extensive research, analysis and institutional consultation, a clear realization emerged that a set of coordinated legislation amendments is necessary to bring the Indian Soldiers Litigation Act 1925 with the demands of modern-day litigation involving defense personnel. And the centenary of this legislation offers a timely opportunity to extend its protective mechanisms to criminal cases where a soldier is a complainant, especially matters under 138 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, and potentially more. This reform effort also aligns with the broader, now this is again crucial, this reform effort also aligns with the broader national imperative, as the Ministry of Defense has declared current year as the year of reforms. So why should legal reform be left behind? Suffice it to say, a comprehensive legislative framework has been formulated, is formulated, to the National Legal Service Authorities, and if it finds approval of Honorable Executive Chairman Nalsa, widely known for his unwavering commitment to the institutional excellence, there is every confidence that the proposal will be steered in the right direction. Now, this brings us to something extremely crucial in context of the two central themes of the conference. One that cuts to the very core of the constitutional vision of equal access to justice and which needs immediate gap bridging. Despite forming a deserving and vulnerable class, members of the armed forces, ex-servicemen, and their dependents are not expressly included within the scope of the statutory framework governing legal aid, even though they face a growing volume of civil, revenue, and service-related litigation. There are compelling and multi-dimensional reasons to provide such institutional support. Soldiers often operate under extraordinary constraints, including long deployments, all of which limit their ability to access timely legal assistance. These operational challenges are further compounded by their personal and family vulnerabilities. These difficulties become particularly acute in rural and semi-urban areas where access to legal resources, awareness of rights, and availability of affordable legal advice remain significantly limited. It may again come as a surprise to many that a national level recommendation in this regard existed for over 5 decades. In 1973, much before even the Legal Services Authorities Act even came into being, expert committee on legal aid chaired by Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer recommended that legal aid should be extended to serving defense personnel, ex-servicemen, their wives, and war widows. The committee rightly recognized that those stationed in perilous terrains and remote borders face unique barriers in accessing justice. It aptly affirmed the legal aid in its truest sense must defend the defenders. You serve at the front lines, on mountains, in deserts, across oceans, and yet sometimes your struggles, your voices remain unheard beyond the battlefield. That must change. And I'm quite hopeful, rather a feeling creeps in, that possibly that change is about to unfold in a moment from now. Encouragingly, Honorable the Executive Chairman Nalsa, Justice Surya Kant, is here, given the deep sentiment and unwavering regard he holds for the defense forces of our nation. We are confident he has something truly meaningful up his sleeve, something crafted with thought, compassion, and vision as he prepares to launch the Nalsa Veer Parivar Sahayata Yojana 2025. And if our sense proves right, this initiative could well mark a watershed movement in the history of legal aid in India, ushering a new era of inclusivity, recognition, and service for those who have long stood guard for the nation. This vision aligns squarely with the very purpose of our gathering today, to bridge the long-standing institutional and procedural gaps that impede access to justice for defense personnel and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, as I draw to a close, I am reminded of a quote I once read. If you truly wish to do something for a soldier, be an Indian worth fighting for. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Lordship, for the keynote address, which has insightfully laid the path for critical reforms, transformative amendments, and renewed commitments of ensuring access to justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, Kargil Vijay Divas recalls moments that continue to blaze in the national memory, igniting pride and patriotism in every Indian. We are deeply honored to have with us today Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma, Param Vishesh Seva Medal, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal, and Sena Medal, General Officer Commanding in Chief, Northern Command, who has played key roles in strategic military operations, including Operation Sindoor, and I humbly request him for his special address.
Honorable Justice Shri Surya Kant, Judge of the Honorable Supreme Court, Honorable Minister of State, Law and Justice, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Lieutenant Governor, Shri Manoj Sinha, Honorable Shri Justice Arun Palli, Chief Justice, High Court of J&K and Ladakh, Honorable Chief Minister Shri Omar Abdullah, Honorable Justice Shri Sanjeev Kumar, Honorable Shrimati Justice Sindhu Sharma, Lieutenant General Prashant Srivastava, GOC 15 Corps, Shri Rajesh, who is the ADG of CRPF, respected members of the judiciary, esteemed dignitaries, members of the legal fraternity, fellow officers, ladies, gentlemen, and our brave soldiers. Jai Hind. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be part of the significant event which marks a milestone in the recognition of importance and requirement to focus on prioritization and expeditious disposal of legal cases involving our serving soldiers, veterans, their families, and Veer-Naris. The event coincides with 26th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas, which recognizes the conspicuous courage, indomitable bravery, grit, determination, and sacrifice of our soldiers, which forced the withdrawal of Pakistan forces from our sacred soil. As you all are aware that our soldiers serve in the most demanding and often unforgiving terrains under challenging operational environment with utmost dignity, discipline, and unwavering commitment. Every soldier of Indian Army is deeply committed to its oath to serve the nation with honor and pride. A soldier may not always express, but he too is encumbered with the responsibilities back home. And sometimes his innocence and prolonged absence due to his commitment on the borders are exploited to embroil him into avoidable legal issues. As part of a large family, we in the Army provide him moral and psychological support and also be a facilitator to deal with the problems. But a formalized architecture to address legal issues will be a huge morale booster for the Indian Army. Hence, this onerous initiative by the Honorable Judiciary, which focuses on this often neglected need of the armed forces personnel, is deeply reassuring and reinforces our trust and faith in our legal system. This initiative is not just a procedural reform, but has the potential to transform the welfare spectrum of military personnel, especially related to litigation issues, which would contribute immensely to health of our organization. By recognizing the unique nature of military service and creating mechanism for a faster route to justice, the judiciary is paving the way for a more responsive legal defensive system. It will provide a platform for the uniformed personnel, veterans, and Veer-Naris to seek timely redressal without hesitation or prolonged distress. The impact of the scheme will thereby contribute to the morale of our men and women in uniform. I urge the esteemed members of the judiciary that this mechanism may be developed in a manner to provide accessibility to each and every soldier deployed in the remote areas along the borders. We assure you of all our support for this unique endeavor. On behalf of the Indian Army and the entire armed forces fraternity, both serving and retired, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the judiciary, particularly to the Honorable Chief Justice of the High Court of J&K and Ladakh, and all those who have worked behind the scene and recognized the unique circumstances and rolled out this landmark initiative. On this particular occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas, I also take the opportunity to pay homage to the brave hearts who sacrificed their lives to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our motherland. Thank you so much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. In this solemn and stirring moment, when the spirit of service and justice fills this auditorium, it is with great respect and humility that we invoke the wisdom of the Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India and Honorable Chief Justices of the participating High Courts, whose gracious presence amongst us today is not only deep.
even if we are not at war, that's also needs to be applauded. Uh, they are silently serving us without making any hue and cry, and therefore I congratulate the NALSA to have taken up such an initiative, because these are some areas which we generally tend to forget, though we should not. And I again conclude by congratulating all present here to have taken such an initiative. As I said, your contribution during peace period is equally applauded. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lordship. It's indeed our good fortune to have amidst us Honorable Mr. Justice N. Koteshwar Singh, Judge Supreme Court of India, and we are equally fortunate to have Lordship's desire to say a few kind words.
First, I salute the Indian Army and Armed Forces for the wonderful job you do for us, all of us, so that we can all work in peace. When you are deployed in such a difficult terrains, when I visited some of the remotest corners of J&K, I had the fortune to interact with the armed forces there, located in Tangdar. Beyond Tangdar is Keren, that near Neelam Valley, I think that, and Gurez also, and Tawang, of course, Leh Ladakh. Unimaginable condition under which you serve. I went to the last village, Indo-Pak border, in Gurez. I was told that they are going to stay for 6 months incommunicado. I mean, this is a solitary confinement. Had it been a judicial term, it would be a solitary confinement, stuck in that mountain top, solitude. Well, of course, I must congratulate Jammu Kashmir Legal Service Authority for a wonderful initiative we have taken. This is something we have, integrating the armed forces in the legal services scheme, something which has not been done in the past. We know so many of the soldiers, especially who belong to who are foot soldiers, who suffer from different problems. As we all know, they're deployed in far-flung areas. A person deployed in J&K today may be airlifted in Northeast within few hours. And a Jawan posted in Northeast may be airlifted in J&K or Rajasthan, far-flung areas, totally different climatic condition, cultural conditions, under such difficult circumstances, yet they're also human beings. They have their domestic problems, as rightly pointed out by, I'm so happy, so glad that we have been able to integrate this very important segment of our institution in our legal service institution, which will greatly help those, especially those retired also. I'm so happy that the Jila, the Sainik board also have been part of this. It is something I'm sure other state legal service authority will emulate this example set by Jammu Kashmir Legal Service Authority. That's what we see. There's so many cases we come across. A soldier, and I wish this is also extended to paramilitary forces also. I mean, let us not confine only to the armed forces, all down. Therefore, it is so important. And they are doing the same job, actually. Some are, of course, in the front line. Some are also looking up to the problem in our internal problem, also getting more difficult in today's, in modern India. Therefore, they are also airlifted. CRPF, for example, they are lifted from one state to another state. So important that they have been brought in this, and they will huge the kind of resources, the kind of expertise legal services have, we can share with the armed forces and the paramilitary forces. We will go a long way in making the access to justice really, really meaningful. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Lordship's gracious words touch the hardships faced by our soldiers and the tough conditions under which they perform. Certainly, sir.
I don't know why does destiny bring me this opportunity. दो बातें हिंदी में भी कर लेते हैं. मैं जब छोटा था तो आर्मी कैंप हमारे घर से 2 किलोमीटर दूर था. मेरी माँ कहती थी, देखिए ये वो लोग हैं जो पढ़ाई करते हैं और अपने घर से दूर हैं और अपने घर को सपोर्ट करते हैं. लिहाजा पढ़ाई ही एक ऐसा जरिया है, भले घर से इंसान दूर रहता है लेकिन वो अपने घर को सपोर्ट करता है. दिस इज हाउ आर्मी इज अ सपोर्ट सिस्टम फॉर एजुकेशन इन द विलेजेस. बचपन से ही हमको ये बताया जाता था कि ये कितने दूर से आते हैं, बॉर्डर्स में रहते हैं, इनको कोई ज़रूरत हो तो हमको इनका साथ देना चाहिए. इन लोगों को जब ये आते थे गांव में तो हम लोग अपने सबसे बेहतरीन पाले हुए मुर्गे इनको कम प्राइस पे देते थे और ताकि ये मनोरंजन से अपना भोजन कर सके. मुझे याद है मेरे पिताजी कहते थे कि पानी इनको बड़ी मुश्किल से पहाड़ों पे मिलता है, हमको मदद करनी चाहिए चश्मों से इन तक पानी पहुंचाने की. हम अपने घोड़े जो घर में पालते थे उनका इस्तेमाल करके कैनों में इनको ऊपर पीक्स तक पानी पहुंचाते थे. इन लोगों की एक्सेस हमारे लिए सुरक्षा ही नहीं थी बल्कि हमारा मनोबल बढ़ाने के लिए, हमारी एजुकेशन की बढ़ोतरी के लिए भी बहुत ही एक नायाब मिसाल थी. मेरा ये कहना है और सिर्फ एक ही कहना है, बॉर्डर्स का सुरक्षा जितनी भी है वो हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के हाथ में है. इन्होंने सिर्फ हमारी टेरिटरी को ही नहीं आज तक संभाला है, संवारा है, बल्कि इन्होंने गांव की एजुकेशन में एक बहुत बड़ा सहारा दिया है. आप हमारी शिक्षा का ऐसे ही सहारा दीजिए. आपकी तकलीफ अगर हमारे जुडिशरी में कोई होगी हम उसको पीछे कभी उसको नेग्लेक्ट नहीं करेंगे. थैंक यू.
सर, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. We'll come back to the format of the program. Now I request Honorable Mr. Justice Arun Bhansali, Chief Justice, High Court of Judicature, Allahabad, for Lordship's kind views.
On the Kargil Vijay Divas, we humbly bow our heads in remembrance of the extraordinary courage and sacrifice of our brave soldiers who reclaimed our peaks in the year 1999. Our salute to the Indian Armed Forces, which is the unwavering shield of our nation's pride and sovereignty. They are defenders of our dreams, guardians of our nation's freedom, and forever is in our gratitude. Jai Hind to our brave soldiers who embody selfless service and unwavering dedication to the motherland. Thank you.
Thank you, Lordship. I request Honorable Mr. Justice Sheel Nagu, Chief Justice, Punjab and Haryana High Court, for Lordship's gracious words.
Thousand salutes to the soldiers here present. On a personal note, I may share that I'm an army officer's son. My father entered the army sometime in 1949 or 50, maybe. He was second course IMA. And he was there in the 61 war, he was there in the 71 war. Though later he took voluntary retirement sometime in 81. And then we settled down in Madhya Pradesh. So I've seen the rigors that the army personnel go through. Every 2 years you're transferred out. We've been posted in Assam, in Kashmir, Dehradun, Lucknow, not many places. And therefore I thank Nalsa and also Justice Malli for initiating this very a very important and a very useful program for the defense forces. And once again, 1,000 salutes to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Honorable Mr. Justice Gohanathan Narendra, Chief Justice, Uttarakhand High Court, for Lordship's kind words.
The dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais. As my brother, I am the son of a former service officer. My father joined the Emergency Commission in 1965, and he started his stint, incidentally, with the Command Hospital in Srinagar. And it's really, I consider it destiny that I've given an opportunity, and that too on this auspicious day, to speak in this unique confluence of the defenders within and the defenders on the border and the earliest form of our civilization, the tribals. The words of Captain Vikram Batra, I find it very appropriate to recall here. Either I will come back after hoisting the tricolor, or I will come back wrapped in it. This statement echoes the soul of the forces. And as my brother was saying, 1,000 salutes to the forces, to the braves. Yes, these are the braves who have withstood the 1,000-cut policy and who have been the reason that why we are standing here today. I would conclude this few words of mine, which I consider necessary. Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each martyr who went down protecting it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lordship.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Lordship. To the sons and daughters of the defense personnel present in this auditorium, we salute the veterans who have served the nation in uniform. I now very humbly request Honorable Mr. Justice Gurmeet Singh Sandhawalia, Chief Justice, Himachal Pradesh High Court, for Lordship's kind words.
Good morning, everybody on the dais, in the audience. I come from, initially from the state of Punjab and Haryana. The difference in the civilian attitude and the army attitude, I would like to point out. I was born in 1965, in November when the war was on. When my mother was expecting, the normal thing is that Chandigarh was subject to air attack. So and the child should be born far away from the border. So this is the attitude, or what we say, how civilians look at it. At the same time, in 65, the army people would be going forward and sending the men to the border. We have to realize this, how they treat, and as they said, they serve, not to serve, but they serve to sacrifice. It was, we were just passed out of school when we lost one of our class fellows. He was Captain Sandhu. We lost him in Sri Lanka. And his parents used to be our teachers in school. My earnest appeal also here is that the effort, all we are doing is that when young martyrs are like, they are like Captain Vikram Batra also, the effort to look after their parents is a very important thing which we have to keep in mind. When one goes and visits the Kargil Memorial and you look up at the Tiger Hill and falling, the quote from
Lord Tenson's it was an uphill charge. It is we quoted as say, of course not cannons here, but cannons on the left, cannons in the right, cannon in front, countryman forward all the way. So that is what their attitude is. We wish them all the best, and we hope this conference will take it forward.
Thank you, Lordship. Honorable judges, we are deeply grateful for your gracious words and for sharing your thoughts with us. It has truly enriched this gathering.
Today, we also recognize another foundational pillar of the nation, our tribal communities. These groups represent not only religious and linguistic plurality, but also vastly different modes of life. And this North Zone Regional Conference aims to bring together tribal community members, leaders, and legal services institutions from across the Northern Zone to address concerns which are not abstract, but are specific to their lived realities. I have the honor of inviting Honorable Shri Justice Sanjeev Kumar, Judge, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and Executive Chairman, J&K Legal Services Authority, whose commitment to the cause is an inspiration for all of us.
Judge, Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman, Honorable Shri Justice Rajesh Bindal, Honorable Shri Justice N. Koteshwar Singh, Judges, Supreme Court of India, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Law and Justice, Shri Manoj Sinha, Honorable Lieutenant Governor, UT of Jammu and Kashmir, Honorable Shri Justice Arun Palli, Chief Justice, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Patron-in-Chief, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh Legal Services Authorities, Shri Omar Abdullah, Honorable Chief Minister, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh Legal Services Authority, Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Northern Command, Honorable Chief Justices of participating High Courts, Honorable Executive Chairpersons of Legal Services Authorities, and Honorable High Court Legal Services Committees of the participating High Courts and States, Honorable Judges of the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Member of Parliament, staff, Honorable Formal Chief Justices and Honorable Formal Judges of High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh present in the conference, Civil and Police Administration, UT of Jammu and Kashmir and UT of Ladakh, Office, members of Rajya Sainik and Jila Sainik boards, Veer Naris and ex-servicemen, members of various tribal communities present here, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. It's indeed an honor to speak on a subject that lies at the heart of inclusive justice, that is reaffirming the constitutional vision of justice for tribals. As we acknowledge and honor the valor and strength of our defense personnel, it's equally important to recognize another foundation pillar of the nation, our tribal communities. India is a land defined by its pluralism, a mosaic of cultures, languages, religions, and communities that coexist across its vast and varied terrain. Among the many threads that weave the Indian social fabric, the tribal communities stand as one of the most distinct, resilient, and yet persistently marginalized segment. Numbering over 85 million, the tribal population comprises roughly 8.6% of India's total citizenry. And yet, their presence, while statistically significant, remains largely peripheral in the national imagination. in economic terms, but as a product of long-standing social exclusion and physical isolation. Paradoxically, while the tribe Pahadi, Anusuchit Janjati are often celebrated as the original inhabitants of the subcontinent. Yet, the indigenous people or the aborigines rooted in the soil of their ancestral lands have been largely identified and defined by the narratives imposed from outside, more particularly during the colonial era, resulting in their discrimination shaped by geographical seclusion and often stemming from systemic neglect. Ladies and gentlemen, what makes Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh's tribal landscape unique? Historian Ramachandra Guha once said, "The tribes are not backward people. They are the people pushed to the margins of modernity." Nowhere does this statement hold truer than in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, where the very idea of constitutional inclusion for tribal communities intersects with some of the most unique, complex, and historically overlooked realities as compared to the rest of the country. Demographically, in Jammu and Kashmir, more than 11.9% of the population identifies as scheduled tribes, comprising predominantly of Gujars, Bakarwals, followed by Gaddis, Sippis, and those in Pir Panjals, and Chenab Valley and the Kashmir Valley. In Ladakh, an overwhelming 97% of the total population is scheduled tribes. Combined, the population of scheduled tribes of both the union territories counts to 1.5 million, which in itself clamors for urgent need to bring them at par with the broader socio-economic fabric of the nation. Although there is a significant tribal presence in other states, with scheduled tribes constituting 5.71% of the total population in Andhra Pradesh and that of 2% in Uttarakhand. But what makes this place the tribal landscape unique can be answered simply in the context of the scale and the diversity of its tribal community. Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is home to scheduled tribes including the Gujars, Bakarwal, Gati, Sippis, Bose, Rokpa, Balti, Mon, Changpa, Ghara, Purikpa, and Veda, all of which have distinct ethnic, linguistic, and socio-economic identities. Added recently to 2024 amendment are Pahari ethnic groups like Gadda Brahmins, Kolis, and Padri tribe. Together, these groups represent not only religious and linguistic plurality, but also vastly different modes of life ranging from nomadic transhumance to pastoralism and also seasonal agriculturalists. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is as why the Jammu and Kashmir was chosen as a place for this conference. In present times, with the abrogation of Article 370 and extension of central laws to the twin UTs, the region finds itself in a position of extraordinary opportunity to not merely implement tribal welfare schemes, but to shape, model, and lead the next generation of tribal rights discourse in India. Therefore, what makes the region, more particularly Kashmir, the ideal host for a tribal conference is not just that it is catching up with the rest of India's tribal rights framework, but that it offers conditions ripe for policy innovation and new ideas suited best for tribal welfare. The unique yet omnipresent challenges this area faces sets the base for it to be looked as a prototype for tribal development, and this conference would serve as a collective step towards the institutional object of ensuring welfare and holistic empowerment of tribal communities. The purpose would not be ceremonial, but would also be structural, since it aims to bring together tribal community members, the leaders, policymakers, and legal service institutions from across jurisdiction to address concerns which are not abstract, but are specific to the lived realities of the tribal citizens. Since this conference comes at a deeply significant moment, shaped by a backdrop of recent incidents affecting as much tribal highlanders as an urbanite. And given the unique socio-economic and geopolitical and strategic dynamics here, which is unlike than in any other state or union territory, it presents the most compelling case for discourse in India's tribal justice agenda, since it would potentially write a unique chapter for tribal inclusion, robustly underlining the tribal policy in India. The Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is a place where the listening must begin. The purpose of this conference is not only to take discourse forward, but to bridge the gaps that we have long kept the tribal communities at the margins of the geographical map and the interactive conversations. So today, we attempt to redraw that map not just by words or intent, but through a simple yet powerful gesture of inclusivity. A few moments ago, we witnessed tribal artisans and craftsmen stepping onto this very stage to personally present their handcrafted pieces to the honorable dignitaries on the dais. The gesture was a conscious departure from the conventional mode of honoring dignitaries with the intent to place the tribal artisans at the heart of this conference, not just as participants, but as flag bearers of our rich and vibrant heritage. In presenting these souvenirs to our esteemed guests, we are not only reaffirming the adage that tribal communities are a part of shared national identity through their art, craft, and rich culture, but are also ensuring that their presence and participation is actually seen and felt and does not remain confined to the topics of our deliberations. In fact, the whole idea is to give an entirely new dimension to the preambular precept of social justice by acknowledging and giving recognition to a timeless piece of cultural heritage, and to place it at the center of the table, and of course, its craftsmen under the spotlight of our collective efforts. In context, it is with a sense of extreme satisfaction and elation that this gathering may be informed that post-lunch session, we are holding a mega legal services and awareness camp at Harvard, aimed at bridging the gap between tribal communities, the justice system, and the government institutions, promoting inclusion and advancing the constitutional mandate of equal access to justice. The event will include a series of structural activities, among which a key feature will be the setting up of informative stalls regarding schemes and benefits by various government functionaries, enabling direct engagement between the government departments and the beneficiaries, serving the purpose of this conference, bridging the gaps. Now, turning our focus to the scheme, which was recently launched by NALSA, the Samvad Scheme 2025. As we see the expansion of legal safeguards and the outreach of welfare schemes across the union territories, there is a parallel need to ensure that legal empowerment and access to legal aid for tribal communities are not left behind. It is in this context, the National Legal Service Authority's Samvad, strengthening access to justice for marginalized, vulnerable Adivasis and denotified nomadic tribes scheme 2025 has come into picture as recently as in the month of June this year, to play a pivotal role across the length and breadth of the nation. However, for that to happen, Samvad must be implemented in a form that speaks in addition to the National Legal Services Authority's Protection and Enforcement of Tribal Rights Scheme 2015, which was the first dedicated blueprint for taking free legal aid to scheduled tribes. As an improvised version of 2015 scheme, Samvad is architected around certain parameters defining its action plan for implementation focusing on mobility, outreach, specific enforcement of rights, and targets legal assistance, among others, as its core strength. The edifice of Samvad Scheme 2025 is based on a framework of definite pillars that speak directly to the tribals of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And through its fresh approach, Samvad provides a complete toolkit for tribal welfare and empowerment. First, it makes a provision for creation and constitution of legal services special units for tribal communities, known as Samvad Unit for tribal communities at district level. It's my immense pleasure to share that 22 Samvad units across the district of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been established and shall be formally inaugurated during the course of this event for their functioning. It also gives me extreme satisfaction to say that Legal Services Authority of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have not only kept pace with the rollout of the new scheme, but have taken the lead in prompt and proactive implementation. Second, it re-engineers delivery around mobility and authorizes district legal services authorities to run mobile legal aid vans and also clinics timed to pastoral migration cycles, and ensures its workability as it mandates 2 PLVs from every DLSA to be selected preferably from scheduled tribes or particularly vulnerable tribal groups, thereby maximizing the concept of inclusivity. The concept and idea of mobility is integral for the purpose of maximizing outreach and lies at the core of the scheme. I may take this opportunity to inform you that Legal Services Authority of Ladakh, taking inspiration from Samvad Scheme 2025, has embarked upon a noble initiative for launch of mobile hospital program at Ladakh in collaboration with Army Medical Corps and the Department of Health, UT of Ladakh, which is scheduled for its formal inauguration later during the event. The mobile hospital, equipped with basic laboratory, portable X-ray, provision for minor surgeries, would conduct fortnightly or monthly visits to far-flung areas for welfare of nomadic community in particular, and would contribute productively to uphold the constitutional right of health of the tribal populace. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed heartwarming and a matter of delight that the Tribal Affairs Department of UT of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are taking efforts towards the holistic development of the tribals and promotion of their art and culture to new heights in collaboration with legal service authorities. In fact, as a result of joint efforts of both the stakeholders, the respective local tribal band logos have been assigned to the articles produced by the tribals, which shall be unveiled during this event, and that would grant unique recognition and dignified identity to the local handcrafts and artistry of the tribals, so as to augment the livelihood prospects of the tribals. The tribal artisans have been custodians of rich culture and legacies, yet access to markets has remained an elusive concept to them. To empower these communities and to provide sustainable and respectable livelihood, only preservation of their culture will not suffice. There is an urgent need to connect them in a dignified manner with the mainstream markets. I'm indeed happy to inform you that Legal Services Authority of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have taken positive steps to empower tribal artisans and craftsmen by facilitating their access to markets. As a part of this endeavor, a dedicated kiosk has been established at Leh Airport for showcasing and promoting tribal products. Similar kiosks are likely to come up at Jammu and Srinagar airports as well. In a short while from now, the kiosk at Leh Airport shall be inaugurated and would be ready for sale of merchandise. So the next time you pass through these airports, please do stop by and witness the rich craft and traditions of our tribal communities. And please don't forget to carry a piece of art with you to contribute in your own way towards tribal development. The efforts to place the tribal artisans and producers of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh on the tribal e-marketplace maintained by the government have also bore fruit, with the positive response from Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India, and the information and awareness regarding access to marketplaces has already been initiated through respective DLSAs and TLSCs of the respective areas. To conclude, let us not forget the Constitution of India opens with a solemn pledge: we the people. It's a promise not merely of identity, but of inclusion of the constitutional precepts of justice, liberty, equality, and dignity for all. And yet, in our vision of development, in our design of welfare, and in the architecture of law, those who have been more than sentinels of security, the first responders, not only during conflict, but also in care, those who live at the margins of the maps, the tribal herders without land titles, highland communities without identities, the nomadic families without addresses, are still awaiting the full embrace of inclusive development. As we work together, judiciary, government, civil society, and tribal leaders, let us commit ourselves to equity, dignity, and access to justice for all, especially to our tribal communities. As the new scheme rolls out and the new associations bring justice closer to the ground, we have unprecedented opportunity at our hands to bridge the gaps. Let this conference lead the way, not just in implementing schemes and laws, but in reminding all stakeholders that inclusion is not a charity, but an obligation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to restore to these communities what was always theirs, their inclusiveness in We the People. Thank you so much. Jai.
Thank you, Lordship. We are deeply grateful to Lordship for his insightful keynote address on the tribal segment, a powerful reminder that justice must reach the farthest corners of the country. I now have the honor of inviting a distinguished personality whom we look forward to hear on this special occasion. I request Shri Umar Abdullah, Honorable Chief Minister, Union Territory of J&K, for his special address.
Honorable Justice Surya Kant Sahab, Judge, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and Executive Chairman Nalsa, Janab Arjun Ram Meghwal Sahab, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India, Janab Manoj Sinha Sahab, Honorable Lieutenant Governor, Jammu and Kashmir, Honorable Justice Arun Palli Sahab, Chief Justice, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Honorable Justice Sanjeev Kumar Sahab, Executive Chairman, J&K Legal Services Authority, Honorable Justice Sindhu Sharma Sahiba, Executive Chairperson, Ladakh Legal Services Authority, Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma Sahab, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Northern Command, distinguished members of the Judiciary, Honorable Member of Parliament, esteemed members of the Armed Forces, representatives of the tribal community, officers of the J&K government and other governments, legal professionals, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege to address this gathering at a regional conference of such constitutional significance. This platform is a site for deliberation and for collective reflection on the foundational promise of our republic, the realization of justice, social, economic, and political, as envisaged in the preamble and concretized in Article 39A of our Constitution, which enjoins the state to ensure that access to justice is not curtailed by economic or other disabilities. The thematic focus of today's conference on the rights and entitlements of defense personnel and tribal communities touches upon two segments of our society. One defends the Constitution with unflinching resolve. The other has long waited for its full embrace. Our deliberations today are a reaffirmation of our collective commitment to ensuring that justice is not a deferred aspiration, but a lived experience for both. For those who have served with selflessness and for those who have been underserved for far too long. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that the institutions of justice rise should meet their needs with speed, sensitivity, and strength. Today, on the solemn occasion of Vijay Diwas, let me begin by acknowledging the service and sacrifices of our defense personnel, both past and present. These men and women, many of whom belong to Jammu and Kashmir, serve in remote, inhospitable terrain with a quiet dignity and an enduring sense of duty. However, when faced with legal challenges, be it service-related disputes, pension matters, or civil grievances, they often encounter systemic barriers owing to geographic remoteness, the mobile nature of their postings, and the distinct constraints of military life. These challenges definitely constitute other disabilities under Article 39A and must be addressed with the urgency and the compassion that they warrant. It is indefensible that those who risk their lives to uphold the Constitution should struggle to access the protections it guarantees. I take this opportunity to commend the J&K State Legal Services Authority for its initiative in amending its legal aid rules to expressly include serving and retired defense personnel. Likewise, the recent procedural reforms introduced by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir merit appreciation for easing access to justice for our uniformed citizens. These steps are laudable, but they must mark the beginning of a deeper institutional engagement. There is a pressing need to establish a robust coordination among legal service authorities, military legal cells, Zilla Sainik boards, and regimental welfare offices. The establishment of dedicated legal aid clinics in cantonments and in districts with significant ex-servicemen populations should be prioritized. Equally important is the need to ensure that families of defense personnel, particularly widows, aged parents, and dependent children, receive empathetic, expert, and timely legal support. Awareness must accompany access. No soldier or the family of a soldier should be left adrift, unsure of the procedural avenues available to them. To this end, paralegal volunteers trained specially in military legal issues should be deployed in areas with high defense populations. Simultaneously, technology must be harnessed to democratize access through mobile apps, virtual consultation platforms, and user-friendly legal information portals. Justice in our times must not merely be available, it must also be accessible. Turning now to our tribal communities, custodians of rich cultural and ecological heritage, Jammu and Kashmir is home to several scheduled tribes, including Gujars, Bakarwals, Pahadis, Gaddis, and Sippis, who have preserved ancient traditions while braving difficult terrain. The recent extension of key constitutional protections through the Forest Rights Act, the Panchayat's extension to Scheduled Areas Act, and affirmative action policies mark a historic correction in the arc of legal recognition. Our government has correspondingly augmented its development efforts. This year, the capital expenditure for tribal welfare has been raised to 98 crores. 6 Eklavya model residential schools have been made operational. 222 smart classrooms have been established in tribal-dominated schools, and healthcare services have been expanded through mobile medical units. The Tribal Research Institute has also been commissioned. These interventions reflect our commitment to combine dignity with development. Yet development alone cannot substitute justice. Structural barriers to legal literacy, representation, and redressal continue to persist among tribal populations, owing to linguistic, cultural, and geographic factors. The Legal Services Authority has commendably operationalized 255 legal aid clinics, including in tribal villages and correctional institutions, supported by 527 panel lawyers and 561 paralegal volunteers. However, we must go further. It is important that paralegal volunteers are trained from within the tribal communities themselves. This will ensure that legal support is rendered in familiar idioms, dialects, and cultural frameworks. We must also expand mobile legal aid vans, promote the use of tele-law platforms, and facilitate virtual hearings. Justice, if it is to be meaningful, must reach every remote hamlet from Punch to Kishtwar and from Rajouri to Karna. Simultaneously, a sensitive balance must be maintained between national security and the rights of tribal citizens. Many tribal regions are located in border belts or areas of heightened security oversight. However, law enforcement must not translate into legal disenfranchisement. Mechanisms for lodging complaints, accessing courts, and redressing grievances must be made transparent, timely, and responsive. Alternate dispute resolution mechanisms also offer immense potential. Lok adalats, mediation centers, and village-level panchayat forums, when duly sensitized, can provide swift, culturally respectful adjudication, especially in matters related to land rights, service entitlements, and local grievances. These models need to be institutionalized and resourced accordingly. Capacity building is essential. Judicial officers, legal aid lawyers, and field functionaries must be trained in tribal customary law, military jurisprudence, and the ethics of constitutional service. Only through sustained cross-learning can our justice system be truly responsive to the diversity it is meant to serve. Equally indispensable to legal empowerment are institutions of learning. I am pleased to share that the government of Jammu and Kashmir has sanctioned the establishment of a dedicated law university with an initial allocation of 50 crores. Preparatory work is underway. This university is envisioned as a center of excellence focused on legal instruction, research, and policy innovations, particularly in domains such as tribal rights, constitutional law, military justice, and environmental governance. It is an investment in cultivating an inclusive and capable legal ecosystem for future generations. Let me conclude with the timeless words of Mahatma Gandhi. A nation's greatness is measured by how it treats its weakest members. In our context, the true test of our legal system lies in its treatment of all the weaker sections of the society, including those who have defended us without question and those whose rights have too often gone unrecognized. We must meet this test with humility, clarity, and resolve. On behalf of the government of Jammu and Kashmir, I reaffirm our unwavering support for the legal services authorities and their partners in delivering justice to the most marginalized. We must remain committed to providing every institutional, financial, and technological support necessary to transform constitutional promises into everyday realities. I express my deep appreciation to Honorable Justice Surya Kant Sahab, to Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal Sahab, and the National Legal Services Authority for bringing these vital institutions to the forefront, and I look forward to valuable deliberations and outcomes from this conference. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for such a thought-provoking and visionary address. It's now my privilege to invite a distinguished personality with a deep sense of public service. I request Shri Manoj Sinha, Lieutenant Governor of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, for his special address.
आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम में मंच पर उपस्थित सुप्रीम कोर्ट के माननीय न्यायमूर्ति तथा नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के एग्जीक्यूटिव चेयरमैन जस्टिस श्री सूर्य कांत जी, सभागार में उपस्थित माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के सभी न्यायमूर्तिगण, केंद्रीय विधि एवं कानून राज्य मंत्री स्वतंत्र प्रभार आदरणीय श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी, जम्मू कश्मीर एवं लद्दाख हाईकोर्ट के माननीय मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति जस्टिस श्री अरुण पल्ली जी, जम्मू कश्मीर संघ राज्य क्षेत्र के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री उमर अब्दुल्ला जी, जम्मू कश्मीर एवं लद्दाख हाईकोर्ट के न्यायमूर्ति तथा जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के एग्जीक्यूटिव चेयरमैन श्री संजीव कुमार, जम्मू कश्मीर एवं लद्दाख हाईकोर्ट की न्यायमूर्ति तथा लद्दाख लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटी की चेयरपर्सन जस्टिस श्रीमती सिंधु शर्मा जी, सभागार में उपस्थित नॉर्दर्न जोन के विभिन्न राज्यों के मुख्य न्यायाधीश गण, सभी न्यायमूर्ति, भारत सरकार और जम्मू कश्मीर प्रशासन के हमारे वरिष्ठ अधिकारी, श्री प्रतीक शर्मा जी, सेना सीएपीएफ के सभी वरिष्ठ अधिकारी, सेवानिवृत्त सेना के माननीय अतिथिगण, देवियों, सज्जनों तथा मित्रों, मैं बात शुरू करूं उसके पहले श्री अरुण पल्ली जी को हृदय से बधाई देता हूं, जिन्होंने इस महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम के आयोजन में मैं कहूं कि मुख्य भूमिका निभाई है। और जो तिथि चुना है, मैं समझता हूं कि बात शुरू करने के पहले कारगिल में शहीद अपने उन सेना के वीर जवानों के शौर्य को नमन करते हुए मैं अपनी बात प्रारंभ करना चाहता हूं। वैसे मेरा कानून का कोई मैंने कभी पढ़ा है न ज्ञान है, सीरियल जब बढ़िया चल रहा हो तो विज्ञापन थोड़ी देर का ठीक लगता है। मुझे विज्ञापन के तौर पर सीरियल अभी आने वाला है, मुख्य विज्ञापन के तौर पर खड़ा कर दिया गया है। मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि विज्ञापन की मर्यादा का ध्यान रखूं और फिर आपके बीच से विदा हो जाऊं। मैं नेशन फर्स्ट और जम्मू कश्मीर संघराज्य क्षेत्र की न्याय व्यवस्था के संरक्षक और विकास की कतार में खड़े परिवारों तक ईज ऑफ जस्टिस सुनिश्चित कर रहे सभी न्यायमूर्तियों तथा जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के सभी पदाधिकारियों का भी एक बार फिर से स्वागत करता हूं। हमारे यहाँ संस्कृत में कहा गया, अंगे न गतरम नयने न वक्रतम नयने न राज्यम लवने न भोज्यम धर्मे न हीनम खलु जीवितम चन राजते चंद्र मासा निशा। अर्थ इसका ये हुआ कि बिना किसी अंग के मानव शरीर, बिना आंखों का चेहरा, एक प्रभावी और शक्तिशाली न्याय व्यवस्था के बिना राज्य, बिना नमक के पका हुआ भोजन और धार्मिकता और धर्म का पालन किए बिना मानव जीवन, इसे कभी शोभा नहीं मिलता, ये शोभित नहीं होता है। वह ठीक वैसा ही है जैसे आकाश में चंद्रमा के बिना एक अंधेरी रात होती है। 6000 वर्ष पूर्व जो हमारे जो मूल ग्रंथ हैं, वेद, उपनिषद, इनकी जब रचना हुई थी तब से उसमें न्याय व्यवस्था को सर्वोपरि माना गया है, क्योंकि उसका सबसे बड़ा लक्ष्य जो था समाज में धर्म यानी न्याय की स्थापना और अधर्म यानी अन्याय का विनाश करना बताया गया था। और हमारे सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का जो प्रतीक वाक्य है वह भी महाभारत के अनुशासन पर्व से ही लिया गया, यतो धर्मे ततो जयः, अर्थात जहां धर्म है वहीं न्याय है, वहीं विजय है। महाभारत के अलग अलग स्थानों पर इस प्रतीक वाक्य का उपयोग कई बार हुआ है, जिसका एक प्रयोजन था कि विषम से विषम परिस्थिति में, कठिन से कठिन परिस्थिति में लोगों को याद दिलाया जाए कि जहां न्याय होगा विजय वहीं होगी। अनेक प्रसंग हैं, एक दो का मैं जिक्र करना चाहूंगा। दुर्योधन जब कुरुक्षेत्र में जाने से पहले अपनी मां गांधारी से आशीर्वाद लेने जाता है तो उन्होंने, मां गांधारी ने उसे विजय का आशीर्वाद नहीं दिया, बल्कि गांधारी ने कहा कि जहां न्याय है वहीं विजय होगी। कर्ण ने दुर्योधन का साथ कभी नहीं छोड़ा, मित्रता निभाई पूरे जीवन भर, लेकिन उसे पता था, वो जानता था कि दुर्योधन न्याय के विरुद्ध है, और इसलिए भगवान श्री कृष्ण के साथ अपनी मुलाकात में उसने कहा था कि केशव आप चिंतित मत होइए, जहां न्याय है वहीं विजय है। विदितम में हृषिकेश यतो धर्मस् ततो जयः। कुरुक्षेत्र में युद्ध से पहले महर्षि व्यास धृतराष्ट्र के पास गए थे, और आप सब जानते हैं कि धृतराष्ट्र के पास दृष्टि नहीं थी, वो आंखों से देख नहीं सकते थे, और उन्होंने दृष्टि देने का प्रस्ताव उनके पास रखा है। लेकिन धृतराष्ट्र पिता होते हुए भी ये कहते हुए उन्होंने मना कर दिया, इसकी कोई आवश्यकता हमको नहीं है, क्योंकि वह जानते थे कि जहां न्याय है वहीं विजय है। और महाभारत में कहा गया, न चैव साक्यम संयंत्र यतो धर्मस्ततो जयः। महाभारत के सभी उदाहरण इस बात के प्रमाण हैं कि भारतवर्ष के लिए न्याय व्यवस्था कोई नई व्यवस्था नहीं है। हजारों वर्षों से न्याय व्यवस्था भारत की आत्मा से जुड़ी हुई है, हमारी जीवन पद्धति से जुड़ी हुई है, इसके विकास के केंद्र में रही है। और इसीलिए न्यायालय को हमारी संस्कृति में न्याय का दफ्तर, न्याय का ऑफिस नहीं कहा गया, बल्कि न्याय का मंदिर कहा गया, जहां बिना किसी भेदभाव के ये सुनिश्चित किया जाता है कि सबको समान न्याय मिले और लीगल सिस्टम तक उनकी पहुंच समान रूप से बन सके। मैं आप सबको स्मरण कराना चाहूंगा, संविधान सभा में डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी ने 25 नवंबर 1949 वो बड़ा ऐतिहासिक भाषण दिया, जिसका मुख्य उद्देश्य नीति निर्माताओं और भावी पीढ़ी को इस बात के लिए आगाह करना था कि राजनैतिक लोकतंत्र और सामाजिक लोकतंत्र का स्वरूप देश को देना होगा। सामाजिक न्याय को केंद्र में रखते हुए बाबा साहब ने कहा था कि स्वातंत्र्य, समता और बंधुत्व के 3 सिद्धांत आजाद भारत के लिए बड़े आवश्यक हैं। उन्होंने इस बात पर विशेष बल दिया कि सामाजिक और आर्थिक न्याय पूरी तरह से स्थापित हो तथा समाज का कोई वर्ग, खासतौर से गरीब, शोषित, आदिवासी, ये अन्याय का शिकार न होने पाते। मैं कह सकता हूं कि बाबा साहब के सपनों के अनुरूप 2019 में जम्मू कश्मीर में भी भारत की संसद ने एक आमूलचूल परिवर्तन किया और जिस पर देश के सर्वोच्च न्यायिक मंदिर ने अपनी वैधानिक मुहर भी लगाई। 890 केंद्रीय कानून जो पहले जम्मू कश्मीर में लागू नहीं थे, वे लागू हो गए और उसका लाभ आजादी के बाद पहली बार जम्मू कश्मीर के अनेक नागरिकों को मिला। बच्चों के शिक्षा का अधिकार लागू हुआ। सफाई कर्मचारी एक्ट के द्वारा सफाई कर्मचारियों के अधिकार सुनिश्चित किए गए। दलित भाई बहनों पर अत्याचार रोकने के लिए जो कानून था वो जम्मू कश्मीर में लागू हुआ। माइनॉरिटी एक्ट प्रभावी हुआ। देश के अन्य राज्यों में लेबरर्स माने श्रमिकों के हितों की रक्षा के लिए मिनिमम वेजेस एक्ट वो भी लागू हुआ। उसके सभी उपनियम इंप्लीमेंट किए गए ताकि उनके हितों की रक्षा हो सके। इसके अलावा सैनिकों और आदिवासियों के कल्याण के लिए भी अनेक कानून लागू हुए हैं जिसकी चर्चा मैं आगे करूंगा। लेकिन उसके पहले मैं एक बात कहना चाहूंगा कि देश के सभी नागरिकों के बराबर जम्मू कश्मीर के नागरिकों को भी अधिकार मिला। समता और सामाजिक न्याय की व्यवस्था स्थापित होने की ओर जम्मू कश्मीर आगे बढ़ा। भारत का संविधान सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय की गारंटी देता है। न्याय प्रदान करने का एक पहलू यह भी है कि सभी नागरिकों को न्याय तक पहुंच मिल सके तथा यह सुनिश्चित किया जाना चाहिए कि न्याय सबसे करीब व्यक्ति तक पहुंचे जो इसका सबसे अधिक हकदार है। सभी नागरिकों को न्याय तक पहुंच प्रदान करने के संवैधानिक उद्देश्यों को पूरा करने के लिए देश की संसद ने लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटी एक्ट 1987 पारित किया था, जिसका उद्देश्य समाज के कमजोर वर्गों को निःशुल्क और सक्षम लीगल सर्विसेज प्रदान करना था और यह सुनिश्चित करना कि आर्थिक या अन्य अक्षमताओं के कारण किसी भी नागरिक को न्याय प्राप्त करने के अवसरों से वंचित न होना पड़े। केंद्रीय स्तर पर नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटीज और राज्य संघ राज्य क्षेत्र स्तर पर स्टेट लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी संविधान द्वारा निर्धारित उद्देश्यों को पूरा करने का समर्पित भाव से प्रयास कर रही हैं। जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी फ्री लीगल एड, लीगल अवेयरनेस, लोक अदालत के अलावा पीड़ितों के लिए मुआवजा भी सुनिश्चित कर रहा है। वंचित समुदाय को फ्री लीगल एड प्रोवाइड करने के लिए एक डेडिकेटेड स्कीम भी जम्मू कश्मीर उच्च न्यायालय चला रहा है। आउटरीच प्रोग्राम कमजोर वर्ग जैसे ट्रांसजेंडर, सीनियर सिटीजन, आपदा पीड़ितों के लिए कानूनी प्रतिनिधित्व भी सुनिश्चित कर रहा है। मुझे इस बात की अत्यंत प्रसन्नता है। नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के विभिन्न कार्यक्रम जैसे लीगल सर्विसेज टू विक्टिम्स ऑफ एसिड अटैक, चाइल्ड फ्रेंडली लीगल सर्विसेज, लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटी के माध्यम से डिजास्टर विक्टिम के लिए लीगल सर्विसेज तथा असंगठित क्षेत्र के श्रमिकों के लिए कानूनी सेवाओं की योजना को लागू किया जा रहा है। जेलों में कानूनी सहायता क्लिनिक द्वारा भी विचाराधीन कैदियों और दोषियों के लिए कानूनी परामर्श तक पहुंच सुनिश्चित हो रही है तथा युवाओं में संवैधानिक मूल्यों और कानूनों के बारे में जागरूकता बढ़ाने के लिए स्कूलों तथा कॉलेजेस में लिटरेसी क्लब चलाए जा रहे हैं। जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी ने नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के तत्वावधान में 4 नई योजनाओं डॉन, जागृति, आशा तथा साथी की शुरुआत की है। इसके विस्तार में मैं समझता हूं कि जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। अनेक लोगों को इसका लाभ मिल रहा है। और अगर आंकड़ों को देखें तो वर्ष 2025 के दौरान अब तक जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के विभिन्न कानूनी सहायता योजनाओं के अंतर्गत लगभग 12,000 से ज्यादा लोग लाभान्वित हो सके हैं। मैं समझता हूं वंचित वर्गों के अलावा हमारे समाज के दो अन्य महत्वपूर्ण वर्ग हैं जिन्हें विशेष रूप से आवश्यकता थी, और मैं समझता हूं कि इसी निमित्त ये कॉन्फ्रेंस आज यहाँ रखी गई है। व्यक्तिगत रूप से मेरा मत है कि सेना के जवानों और आदिवासी समुदाय के सदस्य हमारे देश के ऐसे अंग हैं जिन पर हमें कानूनी सहायता प्रदान करने, उनके लिए न्याय सुनिश्चित करने के संबंध में जितना अधिक ध्यान यह देश दे सकता है, मैं समझता हूं वो देना चाहिए। अब दुखद स्थिति ये थी कि सेना का जवान यहाँ अपनी जान तो दे सकता था, लेकिन एक झोपड़ी नहीं बना सकता। अनेक शहीद सैनिक जिन्होंने जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों की रक्षा के लिए, भारत की सीमाओं की रक्षा के लिए अपनी शहादत दी, लेकिन कानूनी रूप से इसका हकदार नहीं था कि यहाँ एक झोपड़ी डाल सके। ये सब कानून अब बदले गए हैं 2019 के बाद, और इसलिए दूर दराज के क्षेत्रों में सीमा पर तैनात हमारे जो जवान हैं, मेरे पूर्व के अनेक वक्ताओं ने बताया है, मैं उसके बारे में समय जाया नहीं करना चाहता, जिनकी वजह से हम आज यहाँ खड़े होकर बोल रहे हैं। उनके अधिकारों के प्रति जितना जो ये आयोजन हुआ है, मैं आयोजन से जुड़े सभी लोगों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूं और उम्मीद करता हूं कि जल्द से जल्द आज की कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो डेलिब्रेशंस होंगे वो निश्चित रूप से कार्यान्वित करने की सफलता में मिल सकेंगे। लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी की भूमिका उनके अधिकारों की रक्षा करने, कानूनी रूप से उपलब्ध सुविधाएं प्रदान कराने में निश्चित रूप से मददगार होंगी। मेरा व्यक्तिगत विचार है कि हम अपनी बहादुर सेना के वीरों, वीरांगनाओं तथा उनके परिवारों का ऋण कभी चुका नहीं सकते, लेकिन उनके लिए न्याय और गरिमापूर्ण जीवन हम अगर सुनिश्चित करते हैं तो मैं समझता हूं कि उनके प्रति हम अपनी श्रद्धा व्यक्त कर पाएंगे। हमारे महान राष्ट्र का एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण वर्ग आदिवासी समुदाय है। मैं उन्हें सिर्फ भारत का मूल निवासी नहीं, बल्कि मैं मानता हूं इस देश पर तथा उसके संसाधनों पर, व्यवस्थाओं पर सबसे ज्यादा हक आदिवासी समुदाय का है। लेकिन आदिवासी समुदाय जो सामान्य तौर पर खानाबदोश, जिन्हें नोमैडिक कहते हैं, उनके कानूनी अधिकार कहीं न कहीं जरूर प्रभावित होते हैं। उनके लिए भी न्याय सुनिश्चित करने में लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी एक बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाने जा रही है। जम्मू कश्मीर ने इन दोनों वर्गों, सेना के जवान तथा आदिवासी समुदाय के लिए न्याय सुनिश्चित करने के लिए बड़े कदम उठाए हैं। जैसा अभी हमारे मुख्य न्यायाधीश महोदय ने बताया, करीब मेरा ख्याल है कि 1.5 महीने पहले व्यक्तिगत रूप से मेरी उनकी चर्चा हुई थी। अभी कल ही 25 जुलाई को जो प्रस्ताव था हाईकोर्ट के माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश अरुण पल्ली जी से सलाह के पश्चात जिला सैनिक बोर्ड के सचिव को डिस्ट्रिक्ट लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी के सदस्य के रूप में शामिल करने का फैसला किया गया। जम्मू कश्मीर लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटी रूल्स के नियम 13 में संशोधन को भी मंजूरी दी गई। इससे डिस्ट्रिक्ट अथॉरिटी में सैनिकों का एक प्रतिनिधि होगा जो उन्हें कानूनी सहायता प्रदान करने के संबंध में ध्यान रखेगा। इसके अलावा कुछ दिन पहले इसी चर्चा का एक लाभ और हुआ। एक दिन बैठक करके हमने हमारे मुख्य सचिव, गृह सचिव, डीजीपी, सीनियर ऑफिसर्स, हम लोगों ने भी सोचा कि अगर न्यायमूर्ति अरुण पल्ली इस दिशा में जा रहे हैं तो प्रशासन क्या कर सकता है। तो एक सैनिक सहायता सेल जम्मू कश्मीर के सेक्रेटेरिएट में श्रीनगर और जम्मू के बनाने का फैसला हम लोगों ने किया और ये तय किया कि जो सैनिक या आर्म या सीएपीएफ के जो लोग जम्मू कश्मीर में काम कर रहे हैं, उनके जो प्रशासनिक कार्य हैं, देश के विभिन्न हिस्सों में, देश के विभिन्न राज्यों से आए हैं, उनके लिए एक सेल गठित करने का फैसला किया है और अधिकारियों को चिन्हित भी कर लिया गया है। और एक उसी में सेक्शन ये होगा जो जम्मू कश्मीर के निवासी हैं, देश के दूसरे हिस्सों में सेना में हैं या सीएपीएफ में हैं, उनके परिवार की समस्या को, चाहे वो पुलिस से संबंधित हो या सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से, ये सेल उसको हल करने में पूरी मदद करेगी। एक डेडिकेटेड पोर्टल बनने का काम प्रारंभ हुआ है। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि ये सैनिक सहायता केंद्र एक डेडिकेटेड इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैकेनिज्म बन सके, इसकी हर कोशिश की जाएगी। तो इसके लिए भी मैं अरुण पल्ली साहब को विशेष रूप से बधाई देता हूं। इनकी इस पहल से हम लोगों के भी ध्यान में आया कि हम भी कुछ कर सकते हैं। हम ये भी जानते हैं फॉरेस्ट राइट एक्ट जम्मू कश्मीर में 14 साल तक लागू नहीं था। 2019 के बाद ये संभव हो पाया। जल, जंगल और जमीन पर उनका अधिकार सुनिश्चित किया जा रहा है। 2019 के बदलाव के बाद उनका पॉलिटिकल एम्पावरमेंट भी हुआ। असेंबली में सीटें उनके लिए रिजर्व की गई। सालों से उपेक्षा और भेदभाव के शिकार लाखों आदिवासी इतिहास में पहली बार भारत के संविधान से बराबरी का हक उन्हें मिला। आरक्षण सहित अन्य व्यवस्थाएं उन्हें मिली। हमारे यहाँ उपनिषद में कहा गया, धर्मो विश्वस्य जगतः प्रतिष्ठा लोके धर्मिष्ठ प्रज्ञा उपजीवंती। न्याय द्वारा एक व्यक्ति जो अत्यंत असहाय है, वह भी सबसे बलवान को परास्त कर सकता है। उसे आज मैं जम्मू कश्मीर में फलीभूत होते हुए देख रहा हूं। अपनी बात समाप्त करने से पहले मैं जरूर कहना चाहूंगा कि जम्मू कश्मीर तथा देश के सभी स्टेट लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी से मेरा आग्रह होगा कि उन्हें सुनिश्चित करना चाहिए सेना के जवानों, आदिवासी समुदाय, वंचित और कमजोर वर्गों के पास हर संभव कानूनी सहायता समय से पहुंचे, ताकि उनका जीवन सुगम हो सके और उनके संविधान द्वारा प्रदत्त अधिकार सुरक्षित हो सके। मैं माननीय जस्टिस सूर्य कांत जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अब सभी माननीय न्यायमूर्ति, विभिन्न हाई कोर्टों के चीफ जस्टिस या बाहर से आए सभी न्यायमूर्तियों और अपने मित्र और भारत सरकार के कानून मंत्री आदरणीय अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जी का हृदय से जम्मू कश्मीर के प्रशासन की तरफ से स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि जो आयोजन हुआ है, निश्चित रूप से ये एक ऐतिहासिक आयोजन है। देश में आने वाले दिनों में इसका जो असर दिखेगा, मैं समझता हूं और निश्चित रूप से सुखकारी होगा। काल हरण कार्य राज्य साक्षी प्रभाषणे महानदोषो भवेत काला धर्म व्यावर्त लक्षण। अर्थात न्याय का फैसला विलंब से नहीं आना चाहिए, क्योंकि विलंब का परिणाम धर्म की पराजय होती है। मुझे विश्वास है कि इस महत्वपूर्ण कॉन्फ्रेंस में डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर आ रही चुनौतियों के समाधान के साथ साथ आम नागरिकों को संविधान में अपने अधिकारों से परिचित कराने के लिए आवश्यक इंटरवेंशन पर चर्चा होगी। मैं एक बार पुनः सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सभी माननीय न्यायाधीश, माननीय मंत्री जी और अरुण पल्ली जी को विशेष रूप से बधाई देते हुए आप सबके प्रति हृदय से कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हुए अपनी बात पूरी करता हूं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging and insightful address. I take the privilege of inviting a towering figure whose leadership continues to bridge the gaps between law and lives of citizens. I request Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India, for his special address.
नेशनल लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटी का ये शानदार कार्यक्रम, सब्जेक्ट भी शानदार है और भाषण भी शानदार हो रहे हैं। अभी मनोज सिन्हा साहब कह रहे थे कि मैं विज्ञापन के तौर पर आया हूं। मुझे लगता है कि भाषण तो इनका बहुत शानदार हुआ है, जोरदार ताली बजा के स्वागत कर सकते हैं। आज के इस प्रोग्राम में जस्टिस सूर्यकांत जी, जज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया, और चेयरमैन नालसा, श्री मनोज सिन्हा जी, लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, जस्टिस अरुण पल्ली जी, चीफ जस्टिस जम्मू एंड कश्मीर हाई कोर्ट, श्री उमर अब्दुल्ला जी, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, जस्टिस सिंधु शर्मा जी एंड जस्टिस संजीव कुमार जी, लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल प्रतीक शर्मा जी, हमारे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के माननीय तीनों जस्टिस जिन्होंने अपनी बात भी रखी यहाँ, जस्टिस पीएस नरसिम्हा जी, जस्टिस राजेश बिंदल जी, जस्टिस एन कोटेश्वर सिंह जी, हमारे विभिन्न हाई कोर्ट्स के चीफ जस्टिस, उन्होंने भी अपनी बात इस प्रोग्राम में रखी। ये प्रोग्राम संवाद जैसा लग रहा था मुझे। हमारे जस्टिस डी के उपाध्याय जी, चीफ जस्टिस दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट, जस्टिस अरुण बंसाली जी, चीफ जस्टिस इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट, जस्टिस शील नागू जी, चीफ जस्टिस पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट, जस्टिस जी नरेंद्र जी, चीफ जस्टिस उत्तराखंड हाई कोर्ट, जस्टिस गुरमीत जी सांधवालिया जी, चीफ जस्टिस हिमाचल प्रदेश, अदर जजेस फ्रॉम वेरियस हाई कोर्ट्स, और हमारे जावेद राणा जी, मिनिस्टर जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, श्री मियां अल्ताफ जी, एमपी साहब, हमारे सेना के ऑफिसर्स, जवान, प्रशासन के अधिकारी, कर्मचारी, ऑफिस बियरर्स ऑफ बार एसोसिएशंस, लॉ ऑफिसर्स ऑफ द जम्मू कश्मीर एंड यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, हमारे हसनैन मसूदी जी जो मेरे साथ लोकसभा में रहे, एमपी साहब, एक्स एमपी साहब, और प्रेस के सभी साथीगण। अब मैं शुरू करूंगा। मेरे भाषण में 3-4 चीजें होगी। आपको लगेगा कि भाई ये भोजन के पहले आगे भोजन इंतजार कर रहा, लंच है ना शायद, है ना? तो भोजन के और बीच में होता बड़ा मुश्किल है, लेकिन सबसे पहले मैं कारगिल दिवस पर ऐसे आयोजन के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत आयोजकों को बधाई देता हूं। आप भी जोरदार ताली बजा के उनका स्वागत कर सकते। और मुझे लगता है कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद कोई ऐसा कार्यक्रम पहली बार ही हो रहा होगा। ऐसा ही है क्या? इसके लिए भी ताली बजा सो। इतना जोर से बजा रहे हो तो मुझे कोटेश्वर सिंह जी कह रहे थे अभी कि कुछ गा के भी सुनाना है, तो फिर मुझे कुछ गा के भी सुनाना पड़ेगा। सुनाऊं क्या गा के? ये हमारे, मैं भारत पाकिस्तान सीमा के नजदीक का आदमी हूं। बीकानेर मेरा क्षेत्र भारत पाकिस्तान सीमा के नजदीक रहता है। आपके यहां भी ये ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के समय आपने सबने हमारी सुरक्षा करी, भारत को भी सुरक्षित रखा। वहां भी एक गीत किसी ने लिखा होगा, लेकिन गुनगुनाते हैं लोग। उसमें एक उर्दू का शब्द भी है सीएम साहब, और अच्छा गुनगुनाते हैं। क्या? ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के जरिए सेना ने मान बढ़ाया है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के जरिए सेना ने मान बढ़ाया है। अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है क्या? सेना ने मान बढ़ाया है, सेना ने मान बढ़ाया है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के जरिए सेना ने मान बढ़ाया। स्वागत करो। तो कोटेश्वर सिंह जी, आपका काम तो हो गया। अब मैं एक कहानी कहूंगा जिससे आपको मनोज सिन्हा साहब की बात आपको याद आएगी। एक हमारे इस देश में एक महान चिंतनशील व्यक्ति हुए थे, वो कलकत्ता के, उनका नाम था ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर, बहुत विद्वान थे। अब जब बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर जी 25 नवंबर 1949 को अपना संविधान सौंपने से पहले पहला भाषण दे रहे थे संविधान सभा में, तब वो इसी चीज का जिक्र कर रहे थे कि 26 जनवरी 1950 को हमें राजनीतिक समानता तो मिल जाएगी, जिसको उन्होंने पॉलिटिकल इक्वलिटी की बात की, लेकिन हमें सामाजिक और आर्थिक समानता कब मिलेगी? हमारे समाज में बंधुता का भाव कब बढ़ेगा? इसका जिक्र मनोज सिन्हा साहब अभी कर रहे थे, लेकिन मैं ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर की एक कहानी से आपको समझाने की कोशिश करूंगा। ये मैंने कहानी हमारे चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया न्यायमूर्ति बी.आर. गवई साहब के सामने भी कही थी, तो उन्होंने कहा ये कहानी बहुत अच्छी है, और उनके ही निर्देश पे ये कहानी यहां भी दोहरा रहा हूं। दोहरा दूं क्या? ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर एक महान दार्शनिक होते थे। एक बार घूमने गए, लॉन में घूम के आए, कलकत्ता का लॉन था, बड़ा लॉन, घूम के आए तो लॉन के गेट पे एक व्यक्ति उनको अचेत मिला। उन्होंने हाथ लगाया, देखा बुखार है और अचेत भी है। उनके पास जो भी साधन था, उस साधन पे उसको दूसरे अपने कुछ साथियों को बुलाया कि इसको इस मेरे साधन में रखो और अपने घर ले आए। वो अचेत था। 3-4 दिन बाद के उनके बाद होश आया। उन्होंने खुद ने भी लिखा है इसमें, अपने कुछ साहित्य में उन्होंने लिखा है। होश आया तो ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर जैसे आज ये नालसा की कॉन्फ्रेंस है, ऐसे कलकत्ता में कोई कॉन्फ्रेंस थी, उसमें भाषण देने गए भी थे ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर। घर आए तो घर में बवाल मच गया। उन्होंने कहा आप किसको लेके आ गए? आप पूछते भी नहीं हो। तो उन्होंने कहा किसको पूछना, क्या ये तो अचेत था। जब मैंने इसके हाथ लगाया बुखार था। मेरी ड्यूटी नहीं है क्या कि जिसको बुखार हो उसका बुखार ठीक करूं? ये मनुष्य नहीं है क्या? क्या नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, ये श्रीपुर समाज का आदमी है जिसको आप घर ले आए, जिसका जिक्र अभी मनोज सिन्हा साहब वाल्मीकि समाज के लिए 370 समाप्त हुई, उसके बाद ही मेरे ख्याल में वाल्मीकि समाज के पहले लोग 370 से धारा 370 के समय क्या करते थे, अगर वो सफाई कर्मी है तो उसका लड़का सफाई कर्मी रहेगा। जैसे ही 370 समाप्त हुई, अब उसका लड़का जम्मू कश्मीर में एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर भी बन सकता है। ये फर्क नजर आ रहा है वाल्मीकि समाज में। तो ऐसा ही उन्होंने कहा तो वाल्मीकि समाज का आदमी है, किसको उठा रहा है आप? अब उस समय का वातावरण था, देश आजाद भी नहीं हुआ था उस समय। तो वहां जो ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर बोलते हैं वो इतिहास में आज भी अमर है। वो कहते हैं ये मेरा भाई है। तो उन्होंने कहा कैसे भाई हुआ? आप ब्राह्मण समाज के आदमी, वहां काफी लोग इकट्ठे हो गए, ये वाल्मीकि समाज का आदमी, आपका भाई कैसे हुआ? तो ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर कहते हैं ये बार की सफाई करता है, और जो आपके मन में मैल पड़ा है उसकी सफाई ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर करता है। इसलिए हम दोनों सफाई कर्मी हुए। ताली तो जोर से बजा दीजिए ना, बजानी है तो। क्या शानदार बात ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर जी ने कही थी। इसलिए हमारे बी.आर. गवई साहब ने मुझे कहा इस कहानी को भी कहना है, तो दूसरा निर्देश मान रहा हूं। तीसरा विषय सूर्य कांत जी ने कहा, जज साहब ने अभी बैठे बैठे न्यायमूर्ति जी ने कहा कि आप कुछ इसके बारे में बताएंगे कि आपका अनुभव क्या है। मैं राजस्थान में आईएएस ऑफिसर रहा, और जब मैं एक जगह कलेक्टर था तो एक मेरी रेवेन्यू कोर्ट थी, उसमें एक आर्मी का आदमी आया। उसने कहा मुझे मेरी सुनवाई पहले कर लो। मैंने कहा झगड़ा क्या है? कि मेरा झगड़ा है खेत का। मैंने कहा खेत में क्या भाई? कि मेरे ही भाई कहते हैं कि ये रास्ता खेत में जाने का आपका नहीं है, और मुझे ड्यूटी पे जाना है। शायद उसको जबलपुर जाना था। और वहां से ट्रेन का समय था। हमारे स्टाफ ने कहा साहब ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है, इसको हम पहले कैसे सुन सकते हैं, और भी लोग बैठे हैं। तो मैं इस माध्यम से जस्टिस सूर्यकांत साहब आपको कहना चाहता हूं कि हम कोई ऐसा आज कोई एक डिसीजन ले सकते हैं क्या कि अगर कोई आर्मी का आदमी अपने ड्यूटी के समय छुट्टी पे गांव में आए और उसका कोई कोर्ट केस हो, रेवेन्यू का भी हो सकता है, कोर्ट का भी हो सकता है, उसके लिए हम कोई एक ऐसा प्रबंध कर सकते हैं क्या जिससे सबसे पहले उसको सुनवाई हो जाए, चाहे रेवेन्यू का कोर्ट हो चाहे आपका कोर्ट हो, तो उसको वो ट्रेन नहीं चूक जाए उसको। मैं तो संवेदनशील था तो मैंने कहा भी पहले उसको सुन लो, लेकिन स्टाफ हमारा नाराज हुआ। मैंने कहा भाई तुम्हारा ये खेत का झगड़ा क्या से आज, तो मैंने सेटल भी किया। उसके बाद अभी तक वो मेरे संपर्क में है। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो हमारी सीएससी है, कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर, इसमें भी एक ऐसी सीएससी बन सकती है जो आर्मी के लोग हैं उनके बारे में लीगल सर्विस कैसे मिलेगी, न्याय बंधु प्रणाली, टेली लॉ क्या है, कोई जानकारी दे। इस तरह की कोई सीएससी भी डेडिकेटेड हो सकती है, हो सकता है ऐसा मुझे लगता है। और मैं जिला प्रशासन से भी बात करूंगा, सरकार में भी बात करूंगा कि क्या रेवेन्यू में, क्योंकि उनके अधिकतर झगड़े खेत का ही होता है, मैंने देखा है। मेरे सामने तो जो आए अधिकतर खेत के, या गांव में वो लेट गया तो उसकी घर के जमीन के भाई अलग अलग हो गए, तो बोला ये प्रॉपर्टी मेरी नहीं है, ये प्रॉपर्टी तेरी है, ये तेरी नहीं है मेरी है, उसके झगड़े हैं। तो उसके लिए कोई रेवेन्यू कोर्ट भी जो आर्मी के लोगों को, आर्मी के रिटायर्ड लोगों को सुने, ऐसा कोई प्रबंध हो जाए तो आज की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का बहुत शानदार एक रिजल्ट निकल सकता है। और दूसरा मैंने देखा है कि वो जब जाता है तो वो, मैं एक फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन में भी काम करता था, तो मैंने देखा वो लोन ले लेता है बैंक से। कई बार आर्मी का रिटायर्ड आदमी, कई बार बैंक में नौकरी करनी होती है, कहीं करनी होती है, बंदूक चाहिए, कोई लोन ले लेता है। लोन कई बार समय पे भरा नहीं जाता है तो उसके बैंक के लोग, अगर उसने प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन से ले लिया तो ब्याज ज्यादा, ये ऐसी समस्याओं से वो घिरता भी जाता है और फेस भी करता है। तो अगर हम लंच के बाद इनसे संवाद करके इनसे कुछ समस्याएं ले लेंगे, जैसे 138 का मामला आपने बताया कि चेक बाउंस का मामला, वो प्राइवेट आदमी क्या करता है कि तुम्हें लोन लेना है ना, तुम ये चेक पे एडवांस में साइन कर दो, कई बार वो नहीं हो पाता है, बोला पैसा नहीं दे रहे, साइन कर दी। तो ऐसे कुछ विषयों को लेकर के अगर हम जमीन और घर के खेत का और लोन जो ये लेते हैं उसके बारे में कोई अगर मैकेनिज्म बना देंगे, एडीआर जैसा जिक्र हमारे सीएम साहब करते थे, ऐसा कुछ कर देंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि आज की कॉन्फ्रेंस बहुत शानदार कॉन्फ्रेंस और सफल कॉन्फ्रेंस हो जाएगी, ऐसा मैं मानता हूं। दूसरा एक विषय, आदिवासी समाज के लोग भी यहां बैठे होंगे, एक आपका मेरे ख्याल में प्रेरणा गीत है या क्या है, मुझे आप बताएंगे। हक हमारा भी तो है, ये क्या है, प्रेरणा गीत है क्या देह गीत है? ये नालसा का गीत है। हमारे न्यायमूर्ति सूर्यकांत साहब जी कह रहे हैं कि नालसा का गीत है और बहुत शानदार गीत है साहब। अपने इस हिंदुस्तान पर हक हमारा भी तो है, इंसाफ के इस आंसिया तक हक हमारा भी तो है, एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है। तो आदिवासी समाज का भी तो हक है या नहीं है, बोलो? इस प्रेरणा गीत को भी हम अगर आज शुरू होते समय गाते तो ठीक था, आगे से भी इसको गाया जा सकता है। राजेश मिंदल साहब, ठीक है ना ऐसा विषय? वो शाम को देखे आपके यहाँ डिनर है ना, या नहीं है? है ना, तो उस समय देखेंगे, डिनर के समय देखेंगे। आज तो मैं पनियारी जानता हूं क्या होता है? हमारे राजस्थान में, मारवाड़ी में एक पनियारी होती है। पनियारी क्या करती है, सिर पे घड़ा और कुएं से पानी लाती है, उसको हमारे कबीर ने भी पनियारी कहा। अभी बुल्ले साहब बहुत बड़े सूफी संत हुए हैं, उन्होंने भी पनियारी शब्द से उन्होंने एक भजन भी लिखा है। तो वो पनियारी क्या करती है, उसके सिर पे घड़ा है, लेकिन वो बात सबसे करती है, तेरे घर में क्या हुआ, उसका क्या हुआ, लेकिन ध्यान रखती है कि घड़ा गिर नहीं जाए। इसलिए मनोज सिन्हा साहब मुझे कुछ भी कहेंगे, लेकिन ध्यान में आज नालसा का ही रखूंगा। हाँ, मैं गीतकार भी हूँ, संगीतकार भी हूँ, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है। इसलिए शाम को अपन उसका आनंद ले सकते हैं। ले सकते हैं क्या, या नहीं लेना है? ले सकते हैं। शाम को भजन करना है, क्या करना बताओ? मेरे तो भजन का भी बड़ा विषय रहता है। और मैंने अभी कहीं से आ रहे थे तो मैंने जस्टिस सूर्यकांत जी को भी सुनाया था। वो ही भजन अपन इनके रात को कर लेंगे अपन। आपको तो आपको बहुत अच्छा लगा था शायद, वो बहुत अच्छा लगा था। ऐसा भजन भी हो तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। अब मैं समाप्त करूंगा क्योंकि हमारे चेयरमैन साहब जो नालसा के हैं, एग्जीक्यूटिव चेयरमैन साहब, उनको भी बोलना है। लेकिन एक लास्ट में ये मेरी कविता है जो मैंने अभी प्लेन में लिखी। सलामत रहे हमारा संविधान। रहना ही चाहिए, नहीं रहना चाहिए क्या? सलामत रहे हमारा संविधान, न्याय, स्वतंत्रता और समानता इसका है आधार। बढ़े बंधुता नागरिकों में, शासन का यही हो सार। सलामत रहे हमारा संविधान, सलामत रहे हमारा संविधान। जय हिंद, जय भारत। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir, for your words that reflect the collective commitment to justice, which is inclusive and forward-looking. We especially thank you for that singing rendition, which was more than extraordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, I may share at this stage that even as we gather here at SKICC Srinagar, the proceedings of this conference are being streamed across 320 locations virtually, from the icy heights of Siachen to the southernmost tip of India, connecting more than 5,000 participants. Honorable dignitaries and esteemed guests, as we reaffirm the constitutional vision of justice for our defense personnel and tribal communities, it is imperative to shine a light on the key initiatives shaped by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh that aim to restructure access to justice, which shall gain institutional momentum with their formal inauguration today. Let us walk you through these transformative steps. The High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh has utilized the power of technology in service of access to justice by developing the Defense Personnel Case Management System for the serving and retired defense personnel. For explaining the functionality of the application developed by the IT team of the High Court of J&K and Ladakh, we have an audio-visual display. May I humbly request Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman Nalsa, and Honorable Mr. Justice Arun Palli, Chief Justice of High Court of J&K and Patron-in-Chief J&K and Ladakh Legal Services Authorities to kindly e-launch the web application.
They stand at the front lines. They are the guardians of peace. They are silent protectors in uniform. Acknowledging their service difficulties, the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is rolling out an initiative. Introducing DPCMS, the Defense Personnel Case Management System, a dedicated digital bridge between justice and the brave. Visit the website of J&K and Ladakh High Court. Look for the DPCMS icon. Click. Enter. You're in. After the sign-up page interface, two paths appear: defense and paramilitary. Choose your badge. Fill in the details. You have created your account, your legal command center. Now your dashboard. Simple, secure, yours. Track your case, hearing dates, court orders, live updates. Can't be in court? No problem. Request a VC link. Attend hearings from your current post. The court comes to you. Need legal help? Apply for legal aid via NALSA. Just a few clicks. Support whenever you need it. Something else comes to your mind, we are here to help. Even from a faraway outpost. Track your history. Enquiries. VC hearings. Every detail is saved, no delays. DPCMS. Empowering the sentinels of peace. Timely, transparent, accessible. Justice now walks with those who march for us. We are here to help. Because those who protect us deserve protection, too. Jai Hind.
Dignitaries and also the IT team for sharing those details.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to witness a deeply symbolic and meaningful moment as a mark of honor and empowerment of the Veer Naris and ex-servicemen, in profound recognition of their strength, resilience, and commitment to the service of the nation. These Veer Naris and ex-servicemen are being engaged as paralegal volunteers from across the districts of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh by the legal services authorities of both the Union territories, not only as a measure of outreach, but also as a testament of their inclusion in the legal services framework. I humbly request Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant to please hand over the certificates of engagement to the Veer Naris and ex-servicemen. I humbly request Honorable dignitaries on the dais to please join in the initiative. The names of the Veer Naris and ex-servicemen shall be called who are requested to come forward and receive their engagement letters. I request Veer Nari Shrimati Anjana Devi to receive her engagement letter. Veer Nari Shrimati Poonam Kumari. Veer Nari Shrimati Ruchi Sharma. Veer Nari Shrimati Anjana Devi, followed by Veer Nari Shrimati Poonam Kumari. Next is Veer Nari Shrimati Ruchi Sharma. Veer Nari Shrimati Poonam Kumari. Veer Nari Shrimati Ruchi Sharma. Veer Nari Shrimati Indu Bala. Veer Nari Shrimati Harmeet Kaur. Veer Nari Shrimati Rukhsana Kausar. Veer Nari Shrimati Anupa Devi. Veer Nari Shrimati Shilpa. Veer Nari Shrimati Shilpa. Veer Nari Shrimati Ifroza Begum. Veer Nari Shrimati Sumit Kawar. Havaldar Shri Ashok Kumar, ex-serviceman. Ex-serviceman Shri Ejaz Ahmad Ganai. Ex-serviceman Shri Veer Abdul Qadir. Veer Nari Musmati Mamtaza Majid. वीर नारी मुस्मात मुमताजा मजीद, वीर नारी मुस्मात रूबी बानू, वीर नारी मुस्मात तौहीदा अख्तर, मीर मुस्मातिम तौहीदा अख्तर. Group Captain Dr. Farooq Fareed Nabi will receive engagement letter on behalf of Sepoy Shri Shahzad Ahmed. Veer Nari Musmat Mohina Begum, ex-serviceman. Veer Nari Musmat Mohina Begum is next. Ex-serviceman Havaldar Shri Mehrajuddin Bhatt. Ex-serviceman Havaldar Shri Nazir Ahmed Bhatt. Ex-serviceman Havaldar Shri Nazir Ahmed Bhatt. Veer Nari Musmat Shabnam Begum. Subedar, okay, thank you very much. With the formal handing over of the engagement letters, we are igniting a collective resolve to reach the last mile. This initiative reflects the powerful vision that those who know the ground best must lead the way to justice.
Ladies and gentlemen, as has already been announced by Honorable the Chief Justice, the statutory order bearing number 199 of 2025 has been officially notified by the Government of Jammu and Kashmir, amending Rule 13 of the Jammu and Kashmir Legal Services Authorities Rule. Pursuant to this amendment, legal aid care and support centers have been established at the Zilla Sainik boards of both the union territories and at all Rajya Sainik boards across the country. I now humbly request Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, Executive Chairman NALSA, Shri Manoj Sinha, Lieutenant Governor Union Territory of J&K, and Shri Umar Abdullah, Chief Minister of J&K, to please inaugurate these legal aid care and support centers.